Welcome to this week's assembly, which is about resilience. Resilience, or being resilient, is one of our key values at the school. And in this assembly, I'd like to talk to you about what resilience is, share with you some stories of some people who have shown resilience throughout the years, and also to talk to you about how you can increase, improve and develop resilience yourself. You may have seen on the 27th of May this year that the Dragon X rocket or spaceship successfully docked with the ISS. Now, what was interesting or exciting about this was not that it sent astronauts into space, but that the rocket returned intact in one piece back to Earth and was reusable again. In the past, rockets have gone into space, into the atmosphere, and that's it. They burn up or they crash land, usually into the sea, but you can't reuse them or recycle them. The exciting part about the rocket on the Dragon X project was that it is reusable. It has returned, it can be repaired, fitted again, and then used in the next mission. Now, this just didn't happen overnight. This took many tries in order to get it right. Let's have a look at the video of how this came about. Elon Musk, who many of you will know is the CEO and owner of Tesla, also is the brains and money behind Dragon SpaceX rockets. He spent a large amount of time, a large amount of money, into the billions on creating a rocket that can return to Earth. Now, as you saw in the video, it didn't always go well, and each launch wasn't always successful, but he has demonstrated extreme resilience by not giving up. He's often compared to the real life, or he is the real life Tony Stark. He's invented electric cars, giant batteries that are powering countries, and he's also now got his space program. But can you imagine how it would have been different if he hadn't shown resilience and given up after the first or second or third rocket had crashed? So what is resilience? I looked up some definitions. The capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. Well, I think your rocket blowing up is probably a difficulty. It's also the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. And this is perhaps the scientific definition here of resilience. Think of an elastic band or a piece of metal, thin metal. Can it spring back into shape? Is it elastic? Does it go back to how it was? Finally, resilience might be thought of as the ability to adapt to new demands. Life is demanding. Life is always demanding. And to be honest, if it's not demanding, you're perhaps not living your life to the full. So how do you adapt to those demands? I want to talk to you about a couple of people who over the years or over the centuries have also displayed extreme resilience. This is Serena Williams, who is probably one of the highest, if not the highest, ranked tennis players of the last 20 years. In 2017, she left the sport in order to have a child and went from a world ranking of first to being seeded 400th and 53rd in the world. This was because she wasn't playing competitive tennis. However, 14 months after her absence, she returned back to competitive tennis, and that year, although she didn't win, she was a runner-up in 3 major tournaments, and by the following year, 2019, in the season, tennis season, the summer, she'd won the French Open again and also Wimbledon. Truly a resilient sportswoman, mentally, emotionally and physically. Another person who showed resilience throughout the years was Thomas Edison. Now you probably know Thomas Edison as the inventor of the light bulb or the electric light, which of course he is. But what's interesting about him is that when he discovered that copper wire could be heated up and produce a glow, he needed to keep that glow sustained in order to make the light. And it's documented that he tested over 1,000 different chemicals, filaments, and kind of materials wrapped around the copper filament in order to find the most perfect material to allow the light to be created. Now that's absolutely crazy. I can't imagine how long that would have taken him. And he would have had to record what had happened quite methodically in order to prove or show that this filament was the most appropriate. Imagine again if he'd given up after the 5th, the 6th, the 500th filament that wasn't working. But he didn't. He kept going until he found the most perfect material to use. The last person to share with you is Lizzo, who many of you will know has been a groundbreaking artist over the last couple of years. At school she was a very gifted flautist, and if you go to YouTube and type in Lizzo playing the flute, you will see many videos of her playing classical music. And she decided that she wanted to get into pop music, but she was told that she was the wrong size. Unfortunately, she was overweight. Unfortunately, she didn't have the right look to become a pop star. However, she released her first song late 2017, early 2018, and over the last 2 years has taken the music industry by storms. She is one of the Forbes top under 30 musicians, made lots of money, made lots of records, and so far in her just under a career of 2 years, she's already won 8 awards for her music. Now, she could have given up. She could have decided that, I can't meet these demands. I don't have the ability to adapt to what people want. But instead, she's put herself out there as she is, who she is, and she's gained a lot of respect for it. And again, this is an example of showing resilience. Traditionally, scientists used to believe that the brain could not adapt. However, in the last 15 years, they have proven that this isn't true. And this is under an area called neuroplasticity. The brain is like plastic, and if you consider plastic, you can heat it up, bend it, change the shape. And they've discovered that the brain is very similar. So if you take a person who is involved in an accident and they damage their brain, traditionally what they thought was the brain function for that area would have been lost. However, what they've now shown is that the brain repairs itself and uses different neural pathways. It learns how to function again. So for example, if you have never played the piano and you decide to play it, it's very difficult. It may be very difficult for several months, it may be difficult for several years, but in time it becomes easier. This isn't because the piano playing is easy, this is because your brain has adapted to it. And this is one of the key areas, this neuroplasticity, in warding off dementia and staying, cognitively healthy and your brain working, is to develop new skills. This could be reading, could be learning a new language, anything that stretches your brain. So resilience helps to create neuroplasticity, and neuroplasticity also helps you to maintain resilience. And the key to this is not being afraid of trying something new. You may have heard of something called the circle of comfortableness. Now everybody likes to be comfortable, and you'll know that feeling where you have to do something. Maybe it's an essay that's due in, maybe it's a piece of work, maybe you're asked to clean your room, maybe you're going outside for some exercise, and you don't really want to do it because it feels slightly odd. Now the reason why it feels slightly odd is because it's like beginning to play the piano. Your brain is telling you that it's going to be difficult. So your circle of comfortableness might be here. Let's take something like exercise. So you decide to go for a run, and you decide to do a mile, and it just takes you slightly out of your circle of comfortableness, which means that your brain is telling you that this is difficult. However, if you are resilient, you push through it, and what you find is that your circle of comfortableness grows. So running a mile now sits within this circle. There are things now that are outside my circle of comfortableness, okay, but what you'll see is I have increased, by being resilient, my circle, and it carries on. The more you do that's outside your comfort zone, the more your brain adapts, and therefore the less stressful you find these activities. This is one of the reasons why we sit mock exams. The idea of sitting an exam might be over here. It's incredibly stressful and it's incredibly scary. However, you sit several mock exams, you do some revision, you practice exams, and suddenly the exams sit within your circle of comfortableness. This isn't to say that exams are suddenly easier, but you're used to them, your brain has adapted and is prepared for them, and therefore you feel comfortable with them. So resilience is about being comfortable and being able to cope with everyday stresses, but it's also about using resilience to move yourself out of comfortableness into situations that challenge you. And the more you can challenge your brain, the more you can challenge yourself, the greater your resilience will become, and also the better you will feel in the long run about yourself, about the world, and about what you have achieved and what you're doing.
So my final thought on resilience is the Rubik's Cube. Now, about 2 years ago, I decided to teach myself how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And as many of you know, it's mind-boggling and stressful, and it takes you out of your comfort zone. But I broke it down into stages, learnt each of the different algorithms to be able to solve it, and practiced. It took me out of my comfort zone, but it taught me to be resilient. So I'm now going to solve it for you. You can test your own resilience by spending a minute or so watching me solve it, or you might be interested, buying your own and trying to solve one yourself. Here we go then. I'll just move the camera down so you can see. So I'm just trying to solve the top at the moment. Okay, up the top. Now we can start working on the on the sides. Okay, so now I have the bottom two layers done, and we're going to start to work on the top. And you put your cross. Once you've got the cross in, you're then looking to join up the sides. So that's white on white, but this is green on white on this side, so I need to move that one around. Now you see I've got white, green, yellow, blue, and it's just to do the corners. So I'm looking for a corner that matches. This one does, because it's got yellow and blue and the red on top, and the square here is blue, yellow and red. So it's not in the right order, but it's in the right place. So I'm going to spin these round. And now they are all in the correct top place. I just need to now rotate them round. So there we go. Solved. So, if you spent the last 4 minutes watching me do that, well done, you've got good resilience. Took me about 6 or 7 weeks to learn. Practice, 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 and it becomes very familiar now. You know, kind of do it without thinking about it. Okay, have a nice day. Thanks very much for your time.